a little bit of confetti for everyone. Let me just make sure that this is broadcasting properly everywhere that I want it to. Let me just make sure that this is broadcasting properly everywhere. Yeah, sounds like a delay because it is. All right. Bada bing, bada swing. Hey guys. And let me put some music up for you today. Maybe like that. The fuck. There we go. What the shit? There we go. There it is. That's what I want. You just like pull down the brightness a little bit. Turn on my airplane mode. Oh, oops. Let's make this a little bit more readable. Everyone, been gone for a couple of days with some extra work, etc., but feeling pretty good overall, and so I'm going to get back on the horn here, do some reed action, do some 12th action. So make it a little bit brighter in here. So we've done some 12th action before. It's the most characteristic interval for the clarinet. And the reason for that is because the clarinet operates acoustically in a really, really interesting way. And no other instrument really works this way. So what the clarinet does is it operates as a stopped cylindrical pipe. And it's kind of the only instrument that works this way, at least in the classical idiom. Every other instrument that you know of really vibrates on an octave. Every string instrument vibrates on an octave. That is to say, the next note in their overtone series is an octave from... So every other instrument, when you start to hit the register key, you hear octaves like this. You notice how many fingerings I'm using, but what I do when I hit my register key, I get a 12th instead. It's very weird, okay? The saxophone has a single reed, but it is a cone. That means it vibrates in an octave. The oboe has a reed, and it is a cone. It vibrates on an octave. The bassoon has a reed. It vibrates as a cone. It vibrates on the octave. The flute is a cylinder, but it does not have a reed. It's open at both ends, so it vibrates on the octave. Literally everything vibrates on an octave except a clarinet. Okay, so we skip every other overtone. Okay, so if I were to play the first 4 notes of the overtone series on this note, this is C. Instead of a regular overtone series, you're going to get C, C, G, and then another C. You're going to get other instruments vibrate like this. All of those vibrations are happening over top. Okay, I skip every other overtone, so I go from the first partial, skip the second, I go to the third partial, then I skip the fourth, and I go to the fifth partial, and I skip the sixth, and I go to the seventh. Okay, so if I were to play on the overtone series on just this note on my clarinet, instead of getting those octaves, I'm going to get... which is weird. And it definitely adds to the complication of playing in tune with other instruments. Because the clarinet is always slightly going to war with our overtone series with every other instrument, which is super awesome. So the first level of working on this is to just exploit your ability to play these 12ths beautifully. And so when I say the register key, here's my register key on my instrument, okay? When I hit this, that breaks the partial. It goes from the first partial to the third partial. I want to do that nice and easy. Okay? So if we were to just look at these first intervals here, so these are twelfths. So these first intervals, the ones that have the large skips at the beginning, all are realized by simply opening the register key with my thumb and changing my voicing ever so slightly. And when I say voicing, we'll talk about it in a second. So let me go in this order. Okay, and all I'm doing is looking for a beautiful ringing tone in both registers. Mostly you can accomplish that by just listening to yourself really carefully, but you can also really help yourself along and properly do it by doing something called voicing, and that is where your tongue is in your mouth, really. It's just whistling, actually. Whistling is voicing. If I go, I accomplish most of those notes by actually the level of where my tongue is in my mouth, even though I'm not thinking about that. So I raise the pitch by moving my tongue up and down and changing the aperture, the hole that the air is flowing through. Squeezing it up makes it go faster, brings the pitch up. Same thing here. So I'm going to start off with this nice open ah kind of voicing, maybe an oh. But then I go, so when you go to the doctor, they say ah, and the reason they say ah is because that makes your throat nice and open. But in order to do a nice higher note, you have to move to kind of more of an E kind of voicing, ah, E, which pushes your tongue up and forward in your mouth. Your doctor would never say E when he's looking in your throat, because your tongue would be up all in the way. Okay, so ah, E. And you can really have a tough time up in the higher register. So if I go F to C, that's the hard one here. You see how kind of one note kind of just elides into the other. You kind of want it to just almost be like an audio effect of just bleeding one note into the 12th. You don't want to pop it. You don't want to do it. So you do that by two ways. Change the voicing. Make sure your air is nice and fast. And also, you don't want to pop that. You just want to squeeze it. It only takes that much, actually, to break the partial. Quink. So you can just kind of give it a little squeeze and not worry too hard about it. Okay? Now, putting this together, this is obviously... this is an exercise actually from my very first college clarinet teacher, Galper. Unfortunately, he passed some time ago. He was quite elderly when I was studying with him already in 1990. This is all about adding a little bit of arpeggiatic legato playing while taking care of these 12ths. So let me do the first. I'll go to here. I'll go to this G for now and just sort of see what I'm doing. A breath between each of these little gestures. Each slur gets a breath, okay? So like this. Level 1. Don't worry about the tempo. Nice and slow. I'm not even really in context, okay? I just spend a lot more time on the higher note. And then start again. exercises in a slightly different way, so I might have played a couple of different notes on the way down going up. Don't worry about that. Play it as written. You can look at this music, you can have it. This is online as well. Second level, okay, this is the way that Mr. Galper taught me. Fermatas on the first two notes, diminuendo the bottom note, and play the top note at a piano. Forte, diminuendo, piano to the top note, crescendo back down. Something like this. I'll just do it as written. That's hard. Okay, so obviously the hardest one there is going to be this bad boy right here, the F to C forte to piano. And that's something I would just dwell on for a little bit. I didn't do it great today, so I'd like to look at it for a second. And I just give it a little as I go over the top. One of my other college teachers called it a snifter of air. Just the most, kind of just spin yourself just over the top there. Okay, we'll do some more of that tomorrow, and you'll see that each day, I'll do this each day of this particular grouping, so that you'll see it'll get a little bit better. Let me just play. Since a few people showed up, I'm going to play the beginning of this again. Okay? Just one line. Watch these 12s. So if I were to evaluate myself, I'd say generally pretty good, a little bit hard on that high F to C transition, but otherwise okay. So if you stick with me for these 5 days, you're going to see that it will improve slightly each day. It actually has quite been a long time since I've gone through these, but I do remember them pretty well from 30 years ago. All right. Let's start working on some scale action. Today we're going to F major first day, which means that our tempo markings are going to be somewhat on the bottom side, although we'll get a little quick. But every day when I start my scales, I start with the modes in the scale, which means that I want to be able to play whatever scale on whatever scale degree is demanded. There are many times that you see scales, especially in tonal music, Weber, Brahms, Mozart. It's very rare that a scale will start on the tonic and end on the tonic or something like that. You really want to grow a facility to sort of be comfortable with any scale on any scale degree. So we start with some modes, and that's a lot simpler than you think. I'm just going to play within the key of F major. That's 1 flat, B flat. Oh, hold on. I want to see this. I have to stop this to look at, not stop the recording. I just want to see the comment I just got. Hold on. View comments. Where can I find the sheet music for this? The sheet music for this you can find, I believe, I found it this morning. Do a Google search for Galper. That's Galper. Clarinet method PDF. Okay. And if you can't find it there, let me know, and I'll put it up on my own website, and you can grab it. This you can get on everything else. You can get is public domain on imslp.org. Okay, so this is Baermann, Book 3, Baermann, Book 3. You'll find there, and also Kroepsch that I'm going to do later. Kroepsch, Kroepsch, on imslp.org. Search those things, you will find this. Okay. Back to modes. We're in F major. We got one flat. So I'm going to start on low E, okay, which would be low Korean mode, 7th scale degree. Just going to go up and down 2 octaves in F major. And then the next would be F, and then G, and then finally until the thumb F, I go 2 octaves up, F, and back. Scale, metronome on 80 for me, subdivision on, always the subdivision on your lowest tempo marking, so that you can check in with yourself twice a day. I mean, twice a beat. So here we go. Modal practice, F major. As I continue to do this, I'm not listening for the technique so much as I'm listening for is the sound quality good up and down? Are all the notes kind of exactly where they're supposed to be, evenly within the beat? I'm trying to think about this technical stuff in a very musical kind of way. And in F major being a really sort of rudimentary scale for the instrument, I have to be doubly careful because there's really no excuse. Here we are on A. Where's my swab? I cleaned up my room yesterday and I don't know where anything is anymore. Really, I'm looking for that. It's kind of meditative, right? Between the 12th and this, I'm not pushing myself yet. Okay, I'm really allowing myself to have like this nice stretch, this nice welcome to the instrument today. Now I'm going to concern myself with moving the tempo a little bit now that I'm sort of feeling generally warmed up. So my goal for this scale today is 140 beats per minute on the metronome. The goal for everything else will be 120. By Friday, my goal for the scales will be 160 and everything else will be 140. Okay, so now we're going to put it together, play the full range scale. I try to put 4 iterations of the scale per breath if I can. 100 now on the metronome. 1, a 2, a 1, 2. Not bad. So what I'm really trying to also demonstrate is an ease. Like, I'm not struggling to go to the high notes. I'm not pushing either my physicality or my air. I'm just allowing my voicing and my brain, while I'm being really in a constant state of awareness and evaluation. And as long as I'm evaluating myself with love, then I'm good to go. I really need to find my I really need to find my swab. Give me 1 second. Yo.
Can you help me because I'm on the last question and I don't want to lose it?
No, I cannot.
Okay. I think I can figure it out. It's just on my lip.
I know it's on your level. You can do it. You don't need my help. You can shred this. All right. Ta-da! I found it. Give me 1 second just to get a little schmutz out of my way here. A little bit of condensation right yonder. And this E flat, B flat key. All right. Let's do that again. Same thing at 100, subdivision on, nice and easy, very melodic, very musical, really looking for the evenness and beauty of the sound. Let the technique take care of itself. 1, 2. Okay, so I hope you can see a general kind of relaxed effect, okay, affect. I'm really just trying to make sure there's no more shit. Okay, hold on, let me change this so I can read these comments as they come. What's up? Thank you. I could play some Cardi B, but I'm honestly working on something else right now. Maybe at the end of this, but we'll see. Here we go. 120. 1, 2. I'm just trying to extrapolate, take exactly what I've been doing on the slow tempos and just move them up so that The idea is no different, okay? How I'm trying to execute it is exactly the same. I'm feeling cheeky, so I'm going to try to put 5 reps per breath now. 1, 2, Okay, so let's go to our goal today. Nice and easy, 140. Keeping it even, keeping it beautiful, trying to drag the metronome slightly, okay? Don't rush. Rushing is for suckers. Drag, drag, drag. 1. So this time I corrected myself. The first couple iterations of that, I really felt like I was pushing it, and I felt like I was quite tense. But the last one, I just reminded myself to relax. I reminded myself to think about the sound and the beauty of it. And lo and behold, it straightened itself out, okay? Technical problems have musical solutions. So let's go on to arpeggio action here. Back with the subdivision on. I leave this first quarter note off because I don't really care about it. But I do think about the evenness of this in a particular way. Okay, I'm subdividing this in my head, not going. I'm thinking. Okay, so I'm constantly trying to go to the next beat rather than come away from the previous one. It makes an enormous difference in how you're able to organize it and play more beautifully, evenly, and without rushing. Yep, I always do 2 reps, 2 breaths per tempo marking, and that gives me 4 reps and 2 breaths. Because more reps is always better than less. Okay, now we're going to throw in this slur 2, tongue 2 articulation, which is pretty characteristic for the clarinet, but I'm going to do it 3 ways. Slur 2, tongue 1, slur 2, tongue 1, tongue 2, slur 2. Once per iteration, 110, okay? So in a middle tempo for me. Just kind of straighten this out for myself. steadiness in my reed today. Pretty good overall. All right, 120. Here's our goal for this right now. Not too high. That's right. Kazumakiryu. Oh man, I'm playing through those right now. I don't know why. I played those on the original, I guess, PS2 and PS3 games when they came out. Now that they're re-releasing them on the PS4, holy shit, I'm so happy. I'm just playing through them in order because why not? They're ridiculous and awesome and stupid and great. 10 out of 10. 9 out of 10 at least. I agree completely. I was just talking to my friend yesterday. I was like, man, as a series of games, they're just awesome. And the main storyline is so operatic and just full of great voice acting, and then the other parts are just so ridiculous and silly. It's like having a bunch of games in one. It really, I love those games. Okay, so here we go to the interrupted scale. Okay, nothing really big here. The only thing that I would say is this high G yonder. Whoops. This high G I finger in a really specific way, just with the first finger. It works every single time in slow motion. Well, first of all, I half-hole everything, so I guess if I wasn't half-holing, it would look like... But since I half-hole, it goes straight back down. Here we go. Super even, same subdivision, so... Towards the beat and not away from it, drag the metronome slightly. Of course, the hard part there is the turnaround at the top. So let me just look at that one more time. Okay, yeah, that's hard not to rush. Let's do that at 120. Here's our goal. Okay, it sounds and looks easy because I've been working on it for a long time. But part of what I'm trying to do is keep the ease and evenness of it and not let my own... I'm a big bulky guy. I don't want to let my own muscularity... Every time I add muscle and tension, that takes away from the efficiency of how my body is working. Okay, here we go. 120. Yep. And I expect those to get better and better all week as I do this. So even though there are a couple of little bitty things that I would probably clean out if this were something that I was taking an audition for, because I'm holding my hand for 5 days doing this, I'm not going to worry about it at all. Yeah, I tell you what, email me, okay? Email me. My email address is Chris, CHRIS, at opengrecords.com. Okay? Chris at opengrecords.com. And I'll forward you the PDF of the entire book. All right? All right, here we are. Fair enough? I will respond to you, so go ahead and do that. So let's, we're going to go on to thirds here. I'm not going to worry about the articulation because I've already done that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play these. Nothing to really speak of here, just technique. Keep it slow, keep it even. Feeling pretty good overall today. Surprised because I could have took a couple of days off, but you know what? I've been working hard and, interesting. 1, a 2. Here's our goal, 120. Good. I was trying to do a little stupid decoration at the end. That's what I get for fooling around. Okay, good. All right, good on the whole. I'm going to move on to this guy. Hope that's helpful, Melon Chief. I did give you my email address. I'll give it to you at the end again in case I forget it just one more time. Chris at opengrecords.com. Okay, I'm going to move on to my favorite stuff on the planet. That's this music here. Let's see. Back off a little bit so you can see me a bit more. Actually, I printed these out. 1 second. Okay, I did, in fact. The hard thing about doing this online sometimes is that I have to PDF, I have to copy everything and reverse it, because my music actually looks like this, right? I'm backwards compared to where you guys are at. So I've got to reverse everything, put it on my iPad, blah, 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 blah. It's a little bit of a pain in the ass, but I love you guys, so I'm doing it out of love and concern for your well-being and mine. All right. So these are great. These again are in the public domain, so you can find them on imslp.org. Kroepsch. 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 What? A little weird. Okay. So I learned how to play these from the great Harold Wright, the late great first clarinetist of the Boston Symphony, and my favorite clarinet player, and in my opinion, probably the best clarinet player in my lifetime. So what we do here, because we're on a slightly slower tempo today, I'm going to set my metronome at 1 tempo and then play everything as printed. Today, that's 50. By Friday, that will be 60, which means that when we get into the 16th notes here, we'll be at 120, 100 today. Whoops. Okay? So, the important thing here at these slow tempos with these 16th note ones is to be totally and perfectly even, totally and perfectly legato as much as possible. You want to perform these and practice these and play these as though you were trying to win an audition with them, as though you're playing on stage by yourself with a committee of interested and educated people who are really listening to everything that you're trying to do. So let's be beautiful and even in F major, shall we? 4 reps, okay? Take the repeat 4 times and then finish with the last bar. Okay, notice I'm not going too staccato with my staccatos. Staccato means separated. It does not mean short. So while this seems pathetically easy, okay, I'm really like engaged the entire time. There's something approaching perfection, which is really hard, okay? Like when you're trying to approach something that's perfect, that's really hard. And I don't care if you're playing Baba Black Sheep. Doing things perfectly is hard. 54. I'm not saying, by the way, I'm not saying that I'm doing things perfectly, okay? I'm saying I'm trying to do things perfectly. As much as I can. With love for myself, without getting too freaked out about things. Right? And when we learn the clarinet, we learn that the going over the break is treacherous. And then just there it is. He makes you do it consecutively over and over, and try to connect those notes is fucking hard. Pardon my French, but it ain't easy. 54 again. Second to repeat. Yep. 55. these things that are actually difficult and then making you do them at like such an exposed tempo that there's only one way that it's going to work out. It's either going to be right or it's not. You can't fool yourself when you're going this slowly. 55 again. There are a couple high Fs that you can finger here, okay? The one that I really like that just comes in really useful is to finger this G sharp, A flat, and throw this A key on. You could go, you really want to use the sliver key, or I really like this F fingering with the A key on. It just like flies right out of your instrument. And if you learn to sort of like voice it, it works perfectly. Number 56, I do two ways. First two iterations, quite staccato in between these notes. Not so great. So I liked everything except one thing there, but 1 and 1 for this B flat. D to B flat. Okay, now the harder way to do it is to do it legato, but with the articulation. So no separation if you can. 56 one more time, or twice more. I started to admire myself because it was beautiful, and then I lost my train of thought. Stay focused. Yeah. It's okay to be critical of myself, yeah? I remember there was a great cello teacher at Indiana when I was there. Of course, everybody knows him, who's a cellist named Jonas Starker. And he was just like a machine. He's just a machine. And they used to bring him in to talk to the basketball team. And we had a very successful basketball team at Indiana for a long time. And I remember he said something about being attentive. And he said, if I'm in a performance and my mind wanders for a moment, I'm ashamed. And that's kind of where I want to be with this. I want to be in the zone, in a constant state of evaluation without beating myself up. 57. Okay, and that also contains something that I like to do, and if there's two different ways to finger something, then I like to practice it both different ways. So for the first note of the second bar of number 57, this is the normal D flat fingering. Of course I go with the half hole, but so I did that for the first two, and then I use the side fingering for the other two. Does it matter? I don't know. I want to be facile both ways. Okay, so I keep the tempo on, but now we're in 6 notes per beat instead of 4. So just change sort of the internal subdivision. Yeah, really get your register key off before you go down to the next one. That was my mistake the first time through. I was a little lazy with getting my thumb off the register key to go back down. Just make sure you are nice and accurate with that. There's that F with that A vent again, okay? Comes right out beautifully in tune. I did an extra rep on that because if the question is, should I do another rep or not, the answer is always yes. Don't want to leave anything sitting out there on the floor that you could have picked up. 59, same idea, easy, easy, easy. All right, and of course, this is when my metronome decides it does not want to have any batteries in it anymore. That's awesome. Where the fuck did I put my batteries? That's the question. Oh, Aha! I knew that I put them somewhere where I was random. I really do crush batteries. I'm the battery killer. All right, here we go. Blah, blah, blah. All right, back to what we're doing. All right. Sorry for that sojourn. Here we are, 59. Oh man, that's a lot of discipline to try to keep it right in that tempo. I keep wanting to like move it. I want to move it faster and faster and faster, but that is not musical. Rushing is an amusical thing. You do not want to rush. You want to drag as much as you can. Fill every microsecond of every beat with beautiful notes. Okay. All right, so now we move into the heart of more technical stuff with this one. Again, try to drag, don't rush. Try to keep it nice and relaxed and even. I'm not worried about working myself slightly into shape with all of these. It's the first day I'm coming back to them. I haven't seen them in a while, so it's all right to have to straighten out a few things. If I'm straightening out a few things in a day or two from now, then I'm going to start to get worried about myself. But right now, I'm really just trying to be easy, chill, cool to myself. Sorry. 61. And then by the 64 is the last one. Yep. I really don't have to try for those high notes. They'll come up by themselves. Everything's fingered as is. The G, I go with 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 2, E flat key. And then straight to the fork. What the fuck? Fuck! Yep. And something again that I just needed to unwind for myself a little bit. It was there, hanging around inside the folds of my brain somewhere. Just let myself just figure it out. I hope you see that, like, for those top G notes, I'm not really struggling at all. I'm not pushing at all. I'm not straining at all. I'm letting those notes come out. All right, number 62. An exercise roughly. Keep it slow. Now I'm going to switch the tempo a little bit because I need to move to a different subdivision. I'm going to subdivide this in 3. This is roughly the same tempo, okay? This time I'm going, you'll see. So the same thing. Diminished seventh stuff here. now I'm just going to kind of fool around with myself with this Alberti bass stuff here. Same tempo here, I'm 33, but now in fourths. So if I was to multiply this by 4, right, then we would get, what, 132? So that's where my 16th notes are. All right, I'm going to go up by 3s. I'm actually 36. All right, now I'm going to start to try to give myself progressively more impossible tempos until I fail. Okay, I'm looking to see where I fail here, like a weightlifter looking to fail out at their top weight. Okay, so this is 40, which means my 16th notes are at 160 here. All right. $180. Oh, we're getting there. 1, 2. Ah. Okay, that's pretty much a fail, but I'm going to go one more. There's 200. This is 50 times 4, of course, 400, so, or 200. So 16 notes at 200. This is a fail. Yep. There's the fail, 200. That's hard as hell. Okay? I mean, you know, look, at that tempo, I'm really just kind of like, whoop, 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 whoop. How about some Schubert to end, shall we? And then I may see you later. How beautiful is that? I really just love to just finish off a nice session, even though I'm tired, with just something really lovely to send myself away One more time, my email address is Chris, C-H-R-I-S, at opengrecords.com. If you need any of this music, just email me and I will give it to you. Thank you for tuning in. I really deeply appreciate it. And I will be back either today or tomorrow. But thanks again. Really, I do appreciate it.